Did we recover the stream? Uh, I don't know if we did. I had my display driver crashed, and yeah, there we go. iPad is showing me everything's back hunky dory. I can't rely on you guys. Um, sorry, not it's not your guys' fault. There's just a delay. Everything it's always different. So my display driver crashed, but it recovered. Thankfully, recovered. But it caused OBS to crash, so I had to reboot OBS. And so everything should be fine now. We're all fine here. Um, is that how that works? So I don't know what I was saying when I cut off. I'm going to go back. Eric Breen says he had a dream that one of these started on time. And obviously, a dream did not come true. Kay's in the house. Lost in Comics has made their way here. They're part of the inspiration of what I'm doing as far as the reading comics. They did an excellent, by the way, an excellent reading of the New 52 Batman, Scott Snyder and our boy Greg Capullo. And you guys should go check it out on their stream. And if you think me reading comics is entertaining at all, I mean, these guys, they do it like professional. They get multiple people to do the voices, and they do it pretty good, pretty proper. Very impressed. Go check it out. Are you guys still doing the Court of Owls? I had seen you had like 4 or 5 episodes at last go. If you guys are still in chat, let me know and plug your stuff by all means. Jimmy, aka Comic Corks with Jimmy, because his name is not long enough. Let's see. Ash is doing his 25 TJ stream by Marvel Logic. You should be charged. I thought you were talking about, like, when you say TJ in these parts, you're talking about Tijuana. But you're talking about I think you were meant to say 25th. I don't know. You're going kind of senile, Eric. You're kind of bidening it. Marania says, actually, Marvel Logic should be Volume 2, Episode 11, as they tend to go 14 issues tops with the series for a reboot. They did that a lot before the Iron Man when I subscribed to it. Iron Man's been booted how many times now? It's funny, like the first half of Marvel's history, there's like everything's Volume 1. And then like in the second half of Marvel's history, it's like 6 more volumes on top of it. They just reboot everything these days. Let's see, Christopher Barker is in the house. He says the fun has arrived. Eric, get crazy. Speaking of Eric, says, let's go, Ash. My crazy pills are kicking in and I'm fading. Well, don't do drugs. That's what I gotta say. Z collects. Yo, everyone, don't forget to smash the thumbs up. But don't go smashing any shop windows, all right? We got enough looting. Smashing the thumbs up's good. Appreciate that, by the way, Z collects. Man, I'm just tired of seeing people smashing stuff. I gotta tell you. Christopher Barker says, is Ash from Pallet Town? Man, I've had this username for almost 30 years now. I think I started using it in 91? No, 92. So 28 years. I started using it during the first Diablo game from Blizzard, Battle.net. And I've been using Ash ever since, is my name. My real name's not Ash. Surprise, surprise. If you see the picture on the screen there, you'll know that it has nothing to do with Pokemon. And it's been around longer than Pokemon. But I get it. Most of the world, the young generation today, think that Ash is Pokemon. Now, speaking of Pokemon, I got back into Pokemon Go. Been playing that with my buddy and his kids. Pretty fun. They improved the game. I used to hate Pokemon with a passion, and then I got addicted to that game, and I was like, all right, Pokemon's okay. Let's see. Jimmy says, okay, he's good. He's good. I don't know if man, my phone is going off like a freaking champ. I don't need it to go off anymore. I just should mute it. I should be like a real professional and just mute my phone. But I only pretend to be a professional. This is Ash, I hear Cinema Blend Godspeed is confirmed for season 7 of The Flash. Oh, you hear by Cinema Blend. Sorry, I can't even read right. Oh, that's cool. That's cool that Flash is in 7 seasons. I gotta be honest, I don't watch any of the CW shows. I watched a little bit of Supergirl when it was CBS, partly because of the cringe, partly because I wanted to see. I was like, this is goofy. But I don't really enjoy the CW take on these shows. They're maybe it's just me being an old timer. I I find them way too juvenile, like even for like comics. Like they're just they're way too like MTV, like not even I'm the MTV generation, which is weird to say, but like the modern, just that almost I don't know how you even describe it to put it into words, but it's one of those things that you know it when you see it. When you see a CW show or an MTV TV show, that style of programming that's like the teen, I guess teen television, aimed at teens. It's it's just it's not for me. And not that I have, it's for someone. So the fact that it's in 7 seasons, I hear The Flash is actually probably the one of the best, or if not the best, of all the CW shows. So I actually have been curious about giving The Flash a try, for that reason. Um, so uh, I just haven't watched it myself yet. Maybe someday I'll sit down and binge it. And that's cool that Godspeed. That's cool that they're actually not doing what like they used to do back in my day. Eric Breen knows what I'm talking about. Do you remember Eric in the 90s when they did the Flash TV show and they put him in the rubber suit? Back in my day when they would do TV shows like that, they would not stick to the comics. They would try to like make it less comic booky because comic books were a bad thing and they didn't want people to be like, ooh, it's a comic book, that's for dorks. So they tried to normalize it. That's how TV and movies used to be for comics. And thankfully, Sam Raimi kind of changed that, and then the MCU just hammered it down and said, look, we can just make stuff like the comics and people will love it. And so now we can see supervillains like Godspeed in TV shows, where before it would have had the Flash being more realistic and being down to earth, real grounded. We can't have it too much like a comic book because that would be too dorky and uncool. That's how it used to be. Melissa says the Harley Quinn TV show is garbage. Well, Harley Quinn is garbage. She's the worst character DC has, by far. So she's just one of the dumbest characters ever created. If she wasn't a complete representation of female daddy issues and sexual perversion, I don't think she would be a popular character at all. But because there's a lot of guys that want to have, let's just say, improper thoughts, perverted thoughts, they want to look at women in a really terrible way, and there's a lot of women with their own personal issues and how they view themselves. A character that actually embodies all the disgusting things that we should look down upon is actually one of the most popular characters and is embraced. And on top of that, she's just a terrible character. She's just stupid. She's a failed psychiatrist who fell in love with the craziest person on the planet, became a complete, calendar picture person for, domestic abuse and so forth. What is the term? Stockholm syndrome. But now she's able to wield a big giant rubber or wooden mallet that probably weighs more than she does, and she can take on the Trinity because that's what you can do when you cosplay. You can take on Superman. She's retarded. I just want to see her splattered all over the pavement. Not really, but kind of. Let's see. Ryuk hasn't been around. Ryuk says, Flash is too repetitive. Every villain is basically a speedster. It stopped being cool 4 seasons ago. Well, if that's the worst thing about it, there could be many worse things. Like, if it's just kind of boring, I'm almost okay with that. Like I'm not gonna watch it, but it's better than seeing like what's happening with Batwoman. Jeez. Um, Melissa says, I don't hate Harley Quinn. I miss the one from Mad Love. Well, yeah, the original Harley Quinn from the animated series was a cool character, and she actually made sense. She was a woman that had severe, traumatizations, and she behaved in a very realistic manner. Cartoony still, but based on real psychological issues that, face the human race with male and female relationships. And her Stockholm syndrome was kind of made her kind of a tragic, sympathetic character in many ways. And she was a little bit forgivable in the sense that she wasn't the mastermind. She was almost kind of the slave. Like, she was a bad guy, but she was the henchman. She was kind of the one that was suckered into doing the bad things for all the wrong reasons. She made all the bad choices. The modern comics Harley Quinn's nothing like that. She's emancipated from Joker. She's her own woman. She's just stupid. The old school Harley Quinn, she might like come out of the shadows and get a sucker punch on Batman, and knock him on the head and give him a bump or something, like, oh boy, hit you on the head, woohoo, she's great. But she didn't take on the Trinity. She didn't go running around just beating up super powered people. Like, she wasn't a cosplay clown, right? She was a Joker henchman, and she was awesome in that role. But because she was popular, people were like, no, we need to see her be amazing and awesome, and they just made her like Deadpool. But yeah, whatever. I'm done talking about Harley. She's the stupidest. When I say that Harley Quinn, just bear in mind I'm talking about the modern incarnation of Harley Quinn, not the original, the current way that she is now. She's so stupid. Anyways, we won't. No, we won't. The original Mad Lib Harley, lesbian, communist. I don't know. It's just all those things apply to Harley Quinn. Christopher says Harley Quinn has moved away from the animated series origins, which is fine for me. Yeah, but that was the animated origins were the only thing that gave her any sense of character. Now she's literally just a perverted. She's everything that that the fans of her are supposed to resent and hate and revile. She's a pure sex object. She has no sense, even in the world of comics. She doesn't have any ground. She's literally a 100-pound woman that couldn't even lift that mallet, much less wield it like a weapon, much less be effective against super powered people. She would be splattered over the pavement in an instant. It's this idea that 100-pound women can run around and just destroy 300-pound men, with the flick of their wrist and stuff. It's just it's grating on me, and it's being done to push this La La Land agenda where we think, oh, women and men are the exact same, and Harley Quinn just pushes it to the edge. And on top of that, she's a mass murdering psycho. Okay, that is meant to steer people away from appreciating what comics used to be about, which was heroism and virtue and justice. She's the opposite. She's about villainy and vice, and she's a terrible example. She's a poor character. There's no reason to like her. She's just a sex object. Anyway, I really am done talking to her. I feel bad that she's so popular and she's made mass market appeal and people watch these TV shows, and now they have like a stupid lesbian Harley show where she and Plant Woman can go run off and be completely bizarre. See, I say that I'm done, and I'm not, because I keep getting sucked in. Just when I think I'm out. How's that line go? From one of my favorite movies. Eric says comics didn't get good until 2012. Amen, brother. Amen. Right? What was the comic that changed it all in 2012? Oh, come on, Eric. You should be on this. Marani says, Ash, see what I said earlier about the old live action Marvel shows. Oh, did I miss what you said? What did you... Marani says, not quite true. Spider-Man live action show was Nicholas Hammond version to comic silliness. It was not really given a chance. Hulk was more banner brooding with Hulk smash thrown in. Yeah, but I mean, there was nothing wrong with the old. I mean, I'm gonna say there's nothing wrong. The old Spider-Man live action show was fine for its time, but you didn't see Spider-Man running around like doing like the comic book way. It was very much a grounded Spider-Man. It was like, we'll have a guy in spandex, and that's like the most we'll push. It you know, they didn't they had to make it very grounded. I was fine, like back in the day. I was like, loved it, but it just was, it was that fear, because comics weren't cool like they are today. Like, well, not that they're super cool today. They're kind of going they're backwards, but you know what I'm saying, they weren't accepted. People they look down at comic books. Oh, Dragon Majesty, you got me out. Pull me back in as a Godfather. You're right. But there's a similar line in John Wick. I think it's like, you ask me if I'm back. Yeah, I think I'm back. Or something like that. Computer robots. Looks like my Ash disappointed in the riots in Los Angeles right now. I'm not sure I know what that means. But that's the way that it goes. What should we read tonight? Besides some Jonathan Hickman. You know what sucks is because my display driver crashed. I can't turn down the brightness. My brightness controls aren't working, so my monitor's on super bright and it's in the dark, and I'm just like, Rrr. I'm not going to reboot my computer right now. Oh, wait, I just fixed it. Thanks. Thanks, genius brain of mine. Oh, what am I on this? I don't know what I'm doing, how to use my computer. I can't multitask anymore. Try to have a stream of conscious and thought, and just not having any interruptions, and keep going while you're doing something else. It's a very difficult task to do. And I find myself getting caught in the portion, which I don't want to do. Let's get, there we go. That's got some pictures on the screen. I'm up in the Comixology, and Eric says, whatever book featured my gal America Chavez. Well, you know what that book was, Eric, because we read it live here on the Ash and Comics channel, and I put a lot of people to sleep that night, tucked them in their bed, and that was some good times. Let's see. People diss the Spidey show to this day, and frankly, it doesn't deserve it. I don't think it deserves it based on the time. Like, I think they did a really good job with the time. Even the Incredible Hulk show. I mean, there were definitely some flaws, like they had to call him David Banner instead of Bruce Banner, but that was, again, what I'm talking about. Like, people were like, they didn't respect the medium of comics, so they wanted to hide it. But they still, the show itself, the Incredible Hulk show, was a solid show. So was Spider-Man. Doing with what they could. I'm just saying that even though they made a solid show, they weren't necessarily doing it like a comic book. They were trying to take the comic and make it less comic booky. And you can still do solid stuff, but I feel it's better if you stay true to the comic roots. And I would love to see what those guys would have done in today, but we'll never know. I was a bad person, and I didn't think of a book to read ahead of time. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm sure you guys will give me something in a chat as the opening act to read. Ash, if everything is SJW, then nothing is SJW. Well, I kind of agree with your sentiment, but I'd never claim that everything is SJW. not at all. So, and I didn't even say Harley was. I didn't even use the term SJW. I said that Harley. I forget. I've said a bunch of things about Harley, but I didn't say anything about SJW. She's, if anything, she's almost like doesn't fit in the SJW world, because SJW should revile her. She's everything that the Puritan ideology should resent, right? Remember when Frank Cho got fired off of Wonder Woman because, oh my God, he showed like an inch of just something retarded, like of skin. And it was just like, people were like, oh my God, just womanizing, and that is so like, and then they go around and they make sex Harley Quinn, and it's fine because, you know, she's, I don't know. I don't know. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. She's just a stupid character. That's really what it gets down to for me. There's worse, way worse offenders if we were talking about progressive ideology and things like that. Like, what's Jane Foster, Captain Marvel, pretty much overall on the Marvel side is where that's at. I'm just talking about stupid characters that have no place in a book, no place having a fandom. I don't understand why anyone likes, I don't know. But I guess people like living in La La Land and reading about retarded, brain dead girls with daddy issues murdering people and then being called a hero because she smashes them in the head with her mallet. Kind of, aren't I funny? I'm kooky and weird, and I'm Harley Quinn. So Jimmy is reading Mark Russell because he likes modern writers. I don't know what's going on in the chat. I'm not going to try to follow. One good thing the Spider-Man show gave us was the great theme song, man. Because that theme song is never going away. What should I read? What should we read tonight? I don't have any more mags. Should I read something worthwhile? Come on, dog. FF2's in the house. He says, sup, everyone. Sup. We were waiting for you, FF2. Now we can finally get the show on the road. Hey, look, there's our girl America right there. Look at it. Look at it. All that's not actually America. That's America's fan. But she's holding the flag. You want to talk about SJW comics? They don't get much more than America, and yet it's so funny. In just a short 8 years later, this is a reviled image, holding up the American flag like this. Do you see that guy that was in the riots that got beat up and assaulted because he was holding American flag? Sorry, didn't mean to take it to there. It's just weird how things like 1 minute it's like, this is what we're about, and then like the next minute all the things that they were like, oh, I'm not about that anymore. I don't know what to read. The only reason people bitch about politics in comics is because they're mainstream. If they weren't, we wouldn't have this problem. That's kind of true. That's the only reason I bitch about politics in comics. You never will hear me bitch about Black Mask Comics. That's a publishing house called Black Mask. They're the ones that recently did the great virtue signal to say how they're going to donate 50% of their revenue towards bailing out rioters that get arrested. Not that Black Mask makes any money. I don't know how they're going to afford to donate 50%. Obviously, Black Mask is a trust fund publisher, some rich, privileged person, ironically, I'm guessing, runs this publishing house, probably out of their parents' house. Or maybe they have their own house, or their parents are rich enough that they bought them their own house, and they don't actually have to worry about money. If you can have as unsuccessful of a comic publisher as Black Mask, and then you can go through COVID and not sell comics, and then you can decide we're going to give 50% of our profits towards bailing out criminals that burn down American cities and destroy lives. You obviously live in such a world of privilege that I cannot even imagine. But even then, you'll never hear me, other than now, just use it as an example, talk about black. I don't care. They post the most ridiculous political drivel. I don't care. Like, by all means, that's your right. I'm 100% free speech absolutist. I absolutely, you want to write your books about whatever, go for it. Like, awesome. But what I have a problem with comics, mainstream comics, is because Spider-Man's not your character. Captain America's not your plaything. They're not your political props, right? These things have been around for, some of them, 80 plus years. And they exist not because, I mean, yes, because some person created them a long time ago. That's true. That's what gave them birth. But they continue to exist because of the fandom over this great many decades that have spanned many, how many generations? 4 generations of father to son, or mother to daughter, however you want to go, just to make sure I'm gender equal. Grandparents, parents, children, grandchildren, sharing this hobby, falling in love with these characters that mean something. They're part of American culture. They're part of modern myth. And to think that you can come in and just be like, I'm going to use this to spread my political propaganda. I guess a company can give you permission to do that. But as a fan of these pop culture icons exist, in many ways, they're figuratively owned by the fans. Yes, the fans don't have the rights to them. They don't own the property, but that's what they exist for. That's the only reason they're around. And these people come in and they decide to use them as, political propaganda pieces. I don't think that's right. And I absolutely, more to the point, support fans who are against it. The fans who have been paying the money, the fans that have been supporting it, if they're upset and they want to voice their disagreement, they want to voice their grievance towards it, by all means, you do it. You should do that. That's what free speech is all about. People expressing their opinions. You don't have to agree with me. You can be disagreeing with everything that I'm saying right now. Just be, they can do what they want, and they can do what they want. But it doesn't mean just because you can do something that you want, that it's the right thing to do, and that other people can't be upset about it. And that's where I'm at. So, like I said, I don't care if you want to go do some political drivel. Go make an independent comic, and I won't necessarily support your book, but I will support your right. And if people come and try to slash you because you made some book and it's this way, like, this is why you don't hear me talk about books like, what's that H1 book where they're all terrorists? I forget the name. Mark Wade's book. You guys, Ignited. Yeah, the book that's basically sparking what we have in society today. Like, I don't know if it's sparking it or if it's reflective of it, but this idea that you can be a homegrown terrorist and people will look up to you as some sort of hero. But anyways, you don't hear me. I'll mock the book because it's stupid and like the ideas are stupid. But H1, go make whatever you want. It's your company. These are your characters. Do it. Let the free market decide. And it has. I mean, that's why H1 can't sell but a couple thousand books. So, but when you have Batman, and Batman selling the most by far, it was selling 120,000 issues back in beginning of 2018, I believe it was, when I got back into comics. And now it's like, it got down to like half that because they put in all the political drivel. That's just, it's not right. I don't like it. Melissa says, my brother Mike used to have a file cabinet full of classic Marvel, DC, and TMNT and Image comics. Cool. Ryuk says, humanity first. I know that he said it that way. That's the only way you have to say it. Anyways, that's just the way the world is. I think art should be political otherwise, honestly. I think art is the realm of that. It's the reason why the Nazis wanted to burn books. It's the reason why the left today want to burn books and why they want to censor books and ban them from schools and libraries, because books teach people ideas. They teach you not just what to think, but how to think. And certain political ideologies don't like people thinking for themselves. But what's really funny is those same political ideologies that don't like people thinking for themselves are the first ones to go put the political proselytization in their books. So think on that for a little bit. Anyways, what do I read? I haven't heard anyone give me any good suggestions. Should I read Thor, God and Thunder, Jimmy? Should I read it? I know he's going to be like, fuck yeah. This is how I know if Jimmy's in the audience or not, because if I ask to read and he doesn't respond, I know he's gone. He doesn't stick around. He's got video games to play. He can't be listening to some schmo YouTuber guy. I really want to read this bad boy. I've never read this. Frank Miller, Simon Bisley. But it's kind of long, so read Batman Beyond. All right. Let's see if there's any Batman Beyond in the Unlimited. Batman. So, the caveat here to taking viewer suggestions is it has to be either something that's in my library or it has to be on Unlimited. And it looks like we have Batman Beyond Unlimited. Not much of it, though. I have to go back a little bit. Go back quite a ways, actually, to the Rebirth issue, which is a one-shot. So this would be a good book to read, unless anyone has any qualms. It's 24 pages, not too long. This will actually be pretty good. I've never read this, and I'm not a Batman Beyond person. Those of you that know me know that I don't like legacy stuff. Batman Beyond is okay in a way because it's kind of like, hey, this is the Batman of the future. And I liked it kind of in the way that I like Spider-Man 2099. But then they kind of rolled him into the present continuity, and I was like, what are you doing? And then they like made this whole new characters. I forget his name. That's, you guys know who the Batman is. Like, why isn't it one of the 16 Robins that Batman has trained in his life? So no, it's not. It's not any of them. It's not Azrael. It's not Luke Fox. It's not anyone. It's not anyone in the remote realm of possibilities that would pick up the mantle of Batman. It's not him. It's Terry McGinnis. That's his name. Terry McGinnis. That's who the future Batman is. All right. Whatever. And then of course, Scott Snyder did this really cool story called Batman 27, which I love, with the Sean Gordon Murphy art. If you haven't read that, it's in the Detective Comics issue 27 from the New 52. Beautiful art. Maybe I should read that sometime. I might read that next. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. We got to read that. Anyways, you read that story, and Scott Snyder's kind of added to the mythos this idea that Batman essentially clones himself every 27 years so that the world always has a Batman. And some people are like, oh, that's stupid. That's corny. And you're like, and the reason it works for me is because it's 27 years from now, or, essentially, it's a futuristic thing that if you don't like it, you can erase it from your head canon and be like, well, the future hasn't happened, so maybe that's not. It's like the Dark Knight Returns when that came out in the 80s. That was Frank Miller's idea of where the future of Batman was going to go. And when you read it, you could be like, oh, that's what the future of Batman is, or you could be like, no, this is never going to go that way. And of course it never did, because comics can't hold on to a roadmap like that. And of course the Dark Knight Returns, it just would never work for comics to reach that point anyway, for a lot of other reasons. But that's why future stories work for me, where you can just be like, oh, just go all sorts of crazy things, and then it's like, no, it's never actually going to happen. But Batman Beyond, they brought it into modern continuity, as far as I understand. So Dan Jurgens wrote this. Wait, Terry is Bruce's son? What? I didn't know that. They made him his son? Gay. Oh yeah, that's, by the way, I think when Batman Beyond was created, Damian wasn't a thing. So like, why isn't Damian Batman Beyond? Oh, I know, they've explained it, and the people have told me, oh, and they explained that. Or they always can explain things, but it doesn't mean it make sense. It's just some weird way of trying to make things make sense that don't make sense. Hey, speaking of shitty Tom King Batman. Whoa, that's a crazy cover. All right, here we go. And here we go. Several decades from now. My name is Terry McGinnis. This city is my home. Please don't hurt them. Neo Gotham. Old-timers still call it Gotham City. These children, they're no threat to you. Probably have too much history to latch onto the Neo part of it. Hurt 'em? We want to turn 'em into cash, sweet cheeks. Takes money to support the man. Of course, a lot of that history is bad. Yes. Joker's moving up. Joker's taken over. Goes back to when Batman first wore the mask. These days, the mask is mine. I'm Batman. Hey, Dregs, you're working school buses now? Low, even by Joker's standards. Oh, nice page. Like that. Nice action shot. Batman crashing through the window. Yeah, this is classic comic style. This is what got me back into comics from my long hiatus. And I wasn't a DC guy, but DC was doing it right. But Batman? You remember me? I'm touched. These clowns worship the ways of the original. I'll give you touched. Nutty, yeah. But this level of extreme is new. No! Used to be they all wanted was chaos. Why the interest in the money? What's changed? Let's play Jack in the Box. Crash. No matter what, they're dangerous. Learned that when we mixed it up for the first time. Back when I was a typical high school kid. Typical parents, typical kid brother, typical attitude. All of that changed the night Dana Tan and I were confronted by jokers. Is that Dana? Dana Tan. Dana? That's a weird name. Dana Tan. Dana Tan and I were confronted by... Okay, sorry. Before long, I was on a cycle leading them out of the town and away from Dana. Not like I had any real plan or any idea of how I'd get them off my back. In reality, my only hope was fate intervening. I like the bikes. I like the art in this book. Look out! Young fool. An old man on a forgotten lonely road, barely swerved in time. Lucky for me, he wasn't just any old man. Bruce Wayne. I was okay at handling myself, but he was in a class all his own. Had 50 years on those losers. It was still over in seconds. Hard to breathe. Come on, let's get you home. Should have called an ambulance, but he refused. Helped him with his meds and fell right to sleep. I was heading for the door when fate intervened again. A bat. Trapped in the clock. Tried to free it. And found what the clock was really hiding. A stairway. To the most wondrous cave in the world. And conclusive proof that the old man sleeping upstairs wasn't just anyone. Bruce Wayne was Batman. A very schway discovery until Wayne showed up. Threw me out. That's where the story should have ended, but it didn't. He thinks he can beat us? Prove Bat's not so smart. Stay down. You think the metal will stop their blasters? Oh, sorry, I'm reading the You think the metal will stop their blasters? No. Just need a clear shot. Swip. Swip. Whoop. That night, by the time I got home from Wayne's, I found our place ransacked. Even worse, my father was dead. Murdered. Evidence pointing to the Joker turned out to be a ruse. I wanted the real killer. Begged Bruce to put the suit back on and find him. He refused. He said he was done being Batman. But Batman flew anyway. I swiped the suit and went after the killers. Bruce coached me from the sidelines, grudgingly at first, and I took down my father's killer. From that night forward, I was Batman. Joker secured not so much as a scratch on the kids. You haven't missed a beat. Thanks, Commissioner. Weird not having Bruce in my ear, though. Drove me nuts, but I still miss him. Seems like the Jokers have gotten more dangerous. We're working to get a handle on that. Oh, it's a girl? Oops. We're working to get a handle on that. And call me Barbara. Oops, that's a bad panel. I can't even tell. I thought that was a dude. Oops. We've heard whispers of a place called Jokerstown, southwest section of the city. But whenever we move in, the Jokers lose the makeup and blend in. How's life outside the suit? Getting everything back together? With Matt and Max, yeah. I haven't connected with Dana yet. It'll be kind of weird. She doesn't know you're alive? Terry, you can't. Wait. That laugh. I seen this. Call the medics. The Joker liked to make sure his men wouldn't talk if they were arrested. Ha ha! Help! These men will die unless... Too late. Joker venom. Is it possible he's still... alive? No, the Joker's been dead for years. That's what everyone thought about me. What if... Careful, you'll become obsessed, like Bruce. Whatever you do, Terry, don't get lost in being Batman. I don't need an escort. You do in Gotham, Miss Tan. You social workers might think these animals are salvageable, but they ain't. Take away hope and anyone can fall into a pit, officer. It's my job to help them get out of that pit. Knock, knock, knock. Mrs. Ortiz, I'm Dana Tan. Gotham Services for All. I'm here too. You shouldn't have come. It isn't safe. Yeep. Spoing. Clunk. You don't belong here, dearie. What dear old Juanita is going to say is that this is Joker's town. Come around telling folks you can help those... Come around telling folks that you can help and those people might turn away from the boss. Which the boss won't tolerate. Crack. So, you're coming with us. No. Yes. 'Cause you gotta answer to the man. And because you were smart enough to tell us that she was coming. Payday! You saved a school bus full of kids? Ultimate sway. What sway is that the kids are safe, Matt? That's always my priority. You aced it, Terry. That's what really kicks. What kicks is being back and having a kid brother to hang with again. Especially since it's just us now. We lost Dad years ago and Mom died in the war. If not for Max Gibson taking you while I was gone, you woulda. If not for Spellbinder locking you down. You woulda if not for Spellbinder locking you down. You're here now, and that's what counts. Yeah. Terry? I can't believe you're here. Something wrong, Max? It's Dana. The Jokers have her. Apparently in the future, lots of women still having shaved heads and pink hair. It's nice to know that trend's going to last for a long time. What do the Jokers want with Dana? Net chatter's all about them wanting to run Gotham. Or as they call it... Or as they call it... I've heard... Joker's Town. That name dies today. Back in high school, Dana and I were close. But as Batman became a bigger part of my life, Dana became less important. When Spellbinder took me off the board, leading everyone to think I was dead, she moved on. By the time I came back, I didn't know what to say to her. What do? Walk up to her and say, "Hey, I'm back from the grave. Oh, and by the way, I'm Batman." Now she's down here, working in the old part of town. The part the elite don't talk about. The part that they close their eyes to. Where people don't live in the sky. Where poverty, crime, and abandonment keep it from moving forward. The Jokers, where are they? Not talking. You don't have to fear me. I ain't afraid of you. I'm afraid of him. You. You don't look fun. Crack. Like you don't laugh enough. Ugh. I can help with that. Teach you to ha 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 laugh through the pain. 'Cause if you can laugh through the pain, extreme pain, you can laugh through anything. Nice. It's like a Venom, like a Joker Venom hybrid, or sorry, Joker Bane hybrid. What do you want with me? Your identity isn't a secret to me. I know who you really are, Carter. Carter Wilson was my name as a child, Dana. I go by Terminal now. Why did you have your goons bring me here? I didn't. Someone else gave the order. Him, the real man in charge. My God, is that the man I'm raising from the dead? The Joker. Definitely to be continued. Well, that was fun. Definitely had never, I don't know if I've ever read an entire Batman Beyond comic at all. I've just kind of watched other people review it or talk about it. So, like I said, it's never was a character that appealed to me because of the whole legacy thing. I'm just like, I'd rather just have Batman, not fake Batman. But that was a fun comic, for sure. I liked the narrative was a little disjointed. There was parts where it was like going into his origin, and then it would jump into the present time, and I wasn't making the connection that the jump was the present time. So I was like, wait, what's going on? And then it would be kind of come clear, but I don't like it when I have to figure it out reading the book, and it kind of takes me out of the immersion. But that was fun. Man, my throat is so dry. Hold on. I'm already not the best, voice person. I don't do accents well or voices, but when your throat is really dry, it's like your vocal cords just do not want to do what you want to tell them to do. So I was having a hard time differentiating voices at all at that point. I was like, oh, geez. So Christopher Barker, you made a request fulfilled. Hopefully it was everything you dreamed of. Ash on Comics reading you a Batman Beyond bedtime story. Like I said, I did enjoy it. Wasn't out of this world. I like the art. Some parts were, like I said, a little disjointed, and the Barbara Gordon part where I couldn't even tell it was a woman. I was like, "What the? Oh, it's Barbara." Oh, so I'll give this a standard 3 stars from me. Means that it did its job. It was entertaining. Didn't blow me away, but I liked it. I could see why people enjoyed this book, and I gotta tell you, after reading this, it makes me wonder why this hasn't been developed into a property. I guess I kind of understand, like, if you're going to do a TV show, CW doesn't want to expend all the budget resources it would take to make a Blade Runner like looking environment. But man, as I was reading the book, I was like, I like the Blade Runner feel, like from the environment. And I would love to have a movie or something of a Batman in a Blade Runner environment. But that would be real expensive. So I can see why. But outside of that, if it ever gets cheap enough that they can do the special effects, like, why they can't do Batman TV show for whatever, I know the reasons kind of, but Batman Beyond would be fun, would be cool. Especially since spoiler alert, don't they make Batman Beyond a woman in in like the current thing. So that's even more to the point for what the TV shows want to do. Let's see. Was there any comments? Oh, it's a Helam shows up, says good to see you. Melissa says that's the episode Rebirth. Christopher says Ash makes funny noises. I do make funny noises. This is the Rebirth Batman. So as you can see here on the screen, this is the one shot when DC launched their Rebirth series back in 2016. They gave each book a one shot issue number 1, and then to make everything utterly confusing, the titles that got their own series, such as Batman Beyond, started over at number 1, and it would say Rebirth at the top, because Rebirth was the initiative, I guess, of whatever you call it. The title was Batman Beyond, but because Rebirth was also the name of these one-shots, it was confusing. So whenever you see the Rebirth in big letters underneath the title, it's the one-shot. If you see it across the top of the book, that's just the label of the era or whatever, and so this is the one-shot of the book. Rebirth is what got me to be a fan of DC as a whole. I've always liked Batman and Superman's fine, that sort of thing, but I never could get into the whole DC universe, and I'm still only dipped my toes. There's so much about DC that I don't know, but I think that's part of the appeal for me, because I used to be an old school Marvel fanboy, and so like I knew all the characters from head to toe, and everything, and now when I see what they're changing in the characters, it makes it like not appealing to me and everything, and all these new characters. I'm just like, I don't know what the hell Marvel's doing. But meanwhile, with DC, it feels like when I was a kid, when I first got into Marvel, and I was like, ooh, who's this Iron Man guy? I'd picked up an Iron Man comic, and I was like, this is cool. I want to read about this, because man, those Iron Man comics back in the 80s had some serious cool covers. Got all excited, and I discovered that they did a Thor comic, because I'm Norwegian heritage, and no, I don't think this is any connection other than coincidence, but like I like Norse mythology, so I've always been interested in Norse mythology, and then I was like Thor, and I was like the whole pantheon. It's my favorite mythology. And so when I was like, Marvel's got a comic book about Thor, and then I got into that, and of course, with the Walt Simonson era Thor, I got in at the right time, and I just got to discover Marvel at its best. And then I got into DC, and some people would not say it's at its best, but certainly DC at its best in a long time was Rebirth, and they were firing on all cylinders back in 2016. So for sure, these are fun books to read. This is where to start. If you're interested in DC, if you're like, I'm not sure about a character, start here at the Rebirth. This is where you find the Rebirth number 1 issue. Like, for instance, if you were interested in Batman Beyond, if you said, oh, this is cool, I could read, find the number 1, just Rebirth and on. It's from 2016. You don't have very far back to go. And it works really well for DC, because DC actually reboots their universes. They've had these crisis events so unlike Marvel, where like the history goes back to the beginning of Marvel, and you can this whole continuity. With DC, you can really start clean if you just care about the story and the continuity. There's a few caveats to that, such as, for example, Superman is not actually Superman from Rebirth. The Superman that's in the continuity is actually Superman from before the New 52. So that's kind of interesting how they carried an old previous multiverse Superman into this. And they've actually done some really cool stories with it, including the Superman Rebirth story. If you read the very last trade paperback of Superman from the New 52 era, a lot of people will tell you New 52 Superman was dumb. Maybe they're right, I don't know, but I'll tell you that last story arc of Superman in the New 52 is cool stuff. It's cool, and it really redeems any problems that people have expressed to me of the character that they didn't like from New 52. I was like, well, he's a hero here. Like, this is Superman. And it explains what's going on with that I just explained. But we're not talking about Superman. I was fast forward or rewinding the book because I wanted to see who did the art. Sook. Ryan Sook. That explains why I like the art. This is a good artist. It's a little bit different style than what he was doing on Superman, though. This is kind of like a more edgy, a lot of hard angles. That's why I didn't recognize him. But yeah, Sook's a good artist. Crazy that like a C-list DC book like Batman Beyond would get such talent. Like that's how great DC Rebirth era was just like every book was just great writer, great art. I mean, not even if they were like great in that sense. Just Dan Jurgens, really solid writer. Ryan Sook, really good artist. This isn't even his best work, but if you see his stuff on Superman, unfortunately, with a different writer. But yeah, I really like it. So what did you guys think about this? I'm sitting here talking and boring everyone. Chris says, not fake Batman. Someone must continue the legacy. It's fake Batman. Come on. Just because someone continues the legacy, there's still someone who copied someone else. There's still someone wearing someone else's clothes. So Bruce Wayne is always the one true Batman. Everyone else is a wannabe. Now, fortunately, this is Batman Beyond, so it's a different Batman. I like that. I like when you try to do that. I liked Spider-Man 2099, where it wasn't just, look, it's exactly the Spider-Man powers, you know. I liked that it was just the name of like, hey, 100 years ago there was this popular superhero named Spider-Man. Now I've got these powers and I'm gonna like pick up that name. Like that kind of makes sense that someone would copy that name, but they weren't trying to be like, I'm picking up the mantle of Peter Parker. Like that's why Spider-Man 2099 worked for me. That's why Batman Beyond sort of can work. I have to admit though, I gotta say, it was always a real stretch for me to believe that Batman could go and train himself to the point to be this ultimate human, peak of human, endurance and strength and all this fighting prowess. But, he's a billionaire. He's got all the resources. He trained from like a kid, went away, like left for all these years, subjected himself to these, masters all over the world, went through like all the most rigorous training, has all the money, resources to do all the things he can do. And you're like, okay, if anyone could possibly do what Batman does, it'd be Bruce Wayne. Because you also have to partner that with the idea that Bruce Wayne happens to just be one of the most intelligent people on the planet and is a detective on, Sherlock Holmes level scale. Like he's a prodigy he's a savant when it comes to being a detective. So you put all of those things together and it's like, that's lightning in a bottle. That's okay. What I don't like is this now premise that like anyone can just pick up the mantle and be Batman. Or like that Batman could just, oh, hey, I found a kid in an alley. I'm going to train you to like fight by my side. Dude, you went and trained for like your whole life. Like you didn't just learn like from a year. I mean, if anyone is actually, if you guys are listening, if anyone's taken a martial art and you've tried to learn to fight, you can study for a year and you'll be able to hold your own probably against some guy on the street. Probably pretty good. Like, are you going to be a top class martial? No, absolutely not. Not like, so comic books, like it already stretches it by creating a Batman character. You're like, okay, they can only exist in comic books. But then when you're like, oh, look, this kid took my suit to like go stop this killer, I'm going to now coach him into being Batman. Like he just steps into the role, like just off the street, and you're Batman now because you put on a suit. It was like when the recent issues of Nightwing, when the four cops became oh jeez. Hold on a second. Hey, sorry about the pause there. I don't know if you heard in the background, one of the kids left their tablets out, and one of their friends is trying to FaceTime them or something. It's like ringing, and I'm like, "What the hell?" It's like midnight on a. It's not really a school night because of the COVID apocalypse, but when I say friend, I'm talking like 9-year-olds. Um, so who could be right? Say, hey, was Ash stop talking? Yeah, I should have put up the screen that says I'll be right back. So I apologize. I was only gonna try to stop it. It took longer than I thought. But um anyways, uh it's just what I was saying. I think sometimes I get too in my head, too analytical about the books, and I just don't like the idea of someone stepping in a role and being like, "Hey, I can do this," and like that. It's not how that works. Like you you don't just become a superhero because I was talking about the Nightwing, when Nightwing stopped being Nightwing, and then the four cops picked up. They were like, "We're gonna," like, they found the Nightwing costumes, and then they called themselves the Nightwings. And I was like, I think that's a cool idea, that these guys want to stop crime and they're gonna call themselves the Nightwings. But and Dan Jurgens started writing that too. He same guy. Scott Lobdell was started it off, and then he left, and Dan Jurgens came on, and they did kind of write it that they messed up a lot, which I appreciated. But you know what I'm saying. Anyways, I'm done with this. um, Marani says, "Uh oh, is Ash Streams going down? What, you guys shouldn't be able to hear me." Um, but there's a delay, so I can never know. Let me just turn the volume up here. Yeah, I hear myself. So that's good. Hey, Dave Sonowich is in the house. I don't get to see you very much anymore, Dave. Good times you're here. Appreciate that. You're just in time. You're just in time for the main event, which is Melissa's favorite part of the show, where we read we read a Hickman Fantastic Four issue. I just need to get back into my comics. So I hope you guys have had a nice little drink. Get yourself some little chocolate milk maybe before bed. I don't know, whatever it is you like to drink before going to bed. I'm drinking Pepsi Throwback right now. That's when I found that at the store recently. I was like, oh shit, I haven't had that in a while. So get yourself all tucked up, pull the bed covers up, turn the light off. We're gonna have a little bedtime story. Melissa's like, God, no. Oh, come on, Melissa. These have been okay stories. They've been good. Fantastic Four are heroes. Our most valiant, our sons and daughters. And here we go. Exactly why am I telling you this again? I did ask nicely. Fine. Everything seemed completely normal. Nothing out of the ordinary at all. So, maybe we could go back to your place? Sure. I'll drive. Whoops, not on guided view. Hold on. Let's do it right. Did I not? All right, hold on. Amateur hour again. I thought I transitioned. There we go. Full screen. Got it going. Here we are. Back to your place? Sure, I'll drive. And this was where? A new place. Some state-of-the-art chain club. Behold, the words of the anti-priest. Equilibrium and thermodynamics have left you with no other choice. It was an all-inclusive performance art spa self-help shrine bar called The Other Side of Zero. Do you want to be a slave to fate? A servant to your eventual demise? Or do you want new rules for a new life? The scene was weird and dead, so we came here. Want a drink? No. Suit yourself. Boop. So, what do you think of the Baxter building? Very cool. I love gadgets. Then you're definitely in the right place. And you're not going to believe the view from my room. There you are. I can feel the connection, making something move in me. Natasha? Hey! Get away from there. That's the negative zone portal. You have no idea how dangerous that thing is. Of course I do. It's why I'm here. What? Crack! Man, she just laid him out. What was I saying about 100-pound women just destroying men? That was at the backhand. That's really hard to do. Anyway, sorry. I'm getting distracted. They knew you'd be at the club this evening. And because of that, and because I'm beautiful, they chose me. We're predictable because we're so simple, Johnny. You just want to enjoy life. And I just want to die. See? There's a natural order of things. From a dense, hot state, our reality exploded into existence. But as soon as it was born, our universe began dying. And the slow, agonizing extinction spiral called expansion will end in the heat death of everything. But through this gate, the natural order is reversed. Here, you die. In the negative zone, you can live. The anti-priest taught me this, and I believe him. He put a word in me, a secret word. This is a new age. Do you want to hear? Hear? Hear it? Oh, shit. What? Okay, I gotta stop here because I have a pet peeve, and you know me, I have to just comment on everything. If you can't write the word shit or fuck or whatever it is, don't put it in the freaking comic. Right? If your comic is not suitable, like if your target audience is not suitable, you have to censor the word, meaning like it's for kids, which I approve of comics being for kids, then just don't use the word. Just Anyway, sorry. I hate that. I hate this whole thing of like, we got to put cursing in our comics to make them more adult. But nothing is less adult than having to do this bullshit. The little squirrely percent number dollar at symbol. Anyways. I do kind of like the one thing is that you can make up your own curse words. You can imagine he's saying whatever you want him to say. Anyways, continuing on. Night. That's disgusting. Oh my god. That's disgusting. Bloop. Okay. Johnny goes to bar. Johnny gets girl. Girl turns out to be a bug monster. Bug monster disappears through the hole. Johnny never kissed the bug. I am going to call that a win. Bloop. No, don't shut down the portal. I'm going in after them. Borp? Yeah. And did you see the device that one of them was holding? What did it look like to you? Boop. It was most definitely a bomb. Just hold the gate open for 5 minutes, okay? My mess, I'm gonna fix it. Blop. Relax. I'm gonna make flame bait of 5 bugs and I'll be right back. No problem. I'm an idiot. Oops. General, the armada of Annihilus. Bah. Let the hive swarm and the cosmic control rod power our defenses. And there's no way through our shields. Hey, look out! Stop them! They've got a bomb! Oof! What? No! Ba-boom! Ugh. Oh, shut it. Squeaky! Uh-oh. The notorious blue page. The other side of Zero is the recruitment arm for an organization called the Cult of the Negative Zone. The Mark III Negative Zone portal possesses the following features and improvements: a faster boot cycle, emergency transparent vibranium shielding, and a decompression buffer. The Annihilation Wave Armada has been rebuilt to pre-crunch assault levels. A state of war exists between the forces of reborn Annihilus and Blastar, self-describing king of the Negative Zone. The level 42 Negative Zone prison station has been expanded into a... Wait a second. What was that again? That was kind of random, unexpected, little bit of comedy. I said they've expanded the Negative Zone prison into a city, and that makes 4. I guess that's settled. What? Nothing. What happened then? Well, considering I didn't stop the bugs from setting off the bomb, the Annihilation Wave was pouring into the base, and my 5 minutes was almost up. I accepted that it was not my day and got the heck out of Dodge. Any problems there? Not really. Close it! Close it now! So, why are you interested in all this, Val? You know me, Uncle Johnny. Gotta keep learning. Gotta feed the beast. Uh-huh. You sure there isn't something we should be concerned about? How would I know something like that? And south of the Baxter Building, the Herald of Man escorts an envoy to the peak. Andromeda Atumasan, Andromeda the Sword, comes with a message from Namor. Who are you to call yourselves kings? You dare? Rumble, rumble. Who calls himself a king that has never felt the sun on his face? That cowers under the ice at the bottom of the world? That sleeps through the age of man? These are the questions that Namor, Prince of the Ocean, Lord of the Sea, has for you so-called kings. And when you have answers for him, when you come out of hiding, he will meet you then. Later, the Baxter Building. Got a minute? Read? Yeah, sure. Well, I don't know what I was thinking. You should have come to get me or Ben. We don't do these things alone, and we don't do them in a way that endangers others. I know. It's just that it was my fault it happened, and I was angry, and I wanted to... Oh man, I can't believe it. I left the portal open. And all the kids were in the building. God, I really am sorry, Reed. Hey, I love that you dive in head first, Johnny. We all do. But you have to start paying attention to what's going on. What do you mean? Everything is changing, Johnny. Everything and everyone. Ben, Sue, the kids. I'm not even sure I have the words to explain what I'm going through. And as everything changes around you, it's inevitable that you'll experience something like this as well. And what am I supposed to do when that happens, Reed? It's simple, Johnny. You ask yourself a question. What is it you stand for? When you can answer that, then you'll know. And in the blue area of the moon, a ritual of immolation. The offering? 5 brides and 1 king. Let the number be 6. 6 warriors for sacrifice. The Light Brigade. How can we claim a world if we are not worthy? And how can we be worthy if we haven't attempted the impossible? Eldrak gave us a battle that we cannot win. The blood price will be paid. The very, very best we have to offer. Our most valiant, our sons and daughters. And so, in the negative zone, the war of 4 cities begins. All right, that's it. And here's a cover gallery. Let's go see what's in the chat. I've been ignoring the chat as I read this. Ronnie says, "Can you full screen that, Ash?" Yeah, you're ahead of me. Christopher Barker, scribbles are swear words. Okay. Ronnie says, "I hate the censored swear words." Melissa says this comic is a hentai now. Melissa, God bless you. If you think that's hentai, then you are fortunate that you haven't seen real hentai. Don't ever look, because you can't ever unlook. Let's see. Ronnie says famous last words. No problem. Larry is the one making those update pages. Yeah, that was cool. I have to say, like, I was kind of getting annoyed with these blue pages. Part of that is my bias and prejudice based on what he's doing with X-Men. And sometimes they're cool. Like, I like the white pages when they were in Hoxpox. He does the same thing on his new book that he's doing at Image with, it's called Decorum. And they're really interesting, and they really add to the book, and it really helps delve into the lore. I really like it. But I think with the X-Men books, with all the other shit books that surround, with Marauders and Excalibur and all these other writers who aren't Jonathan Hickman writing these white, it's just driving me bananas. And then these blue pages that have been in the Fantastic Four, for the most part, I haven't enjoyed, because it's like he gives us a little bit of the story and then explains everything in these blue pages. Like, that's not how you write. Like, explain it in the story, right? Like, George Lucas didn't write Star Wars and then make Empire Strikes Back like a white page and just be like, oh, well, Jedi did this and then it did the trade, and then skip forward to Return of the Jedi. That's kind of what Hickman feels like he does. Like, he's like, I don't want to take this time to write stories and explore the mythos and the lore and do the world building. And so he just wants to explain it. Like, all the world building exists in his head. And he's like, and it's fascinating. The guy's definitely has a very strong intellect, and he's very creative. But I feel like he doesn't understand how interesting this stuff can be to slowly, like, to show the audience. Like, in his mind, he's already done it. So now he just wants to fast forward. He wants to skip ahead and be like, oh, this is all boring. All the who's and whys and whens and why all these connections, and why I want to just fast forward you past it. And I kind of get that, because maybe that's not the interesting part for him. But in a good fantasy world building, like, that world building is important in a good fantasy. That's what people pay admission for. They want to have this mythos leaked out over time and get to learn about it. And, these blue pages were annoying. So when I got to this blue page, the first part, I was like, this book seems really short, because they've always been at the end so far. And then I liked how Valeria just comments at the end, and it's really her on a tablet inputting all this stuff, and that was very additive. It was a creative way to do it, and I have to give props. I really did enjoy that. And then I liked where I thought this story was lame, but it continued on from there, and it deceived me, because I thought it was just this filler story about Johnny Storm having this encounter, and Hickman writing him like he's Peter Parker, which I think is a little over the top. I don't think he should be quite the clown that Spider-Man is, but whatever. But then it turned out not to be that way. That was a really strong use of red herring, and it was telling a greater story of what the Inhumans were doing. Then it was patching back into those underwater kings, what they're doing, and he's linking his other stories that we've been hearing so far. And that's what made comics great. Like, when you can have that connective tissue, and you have the bigger mythos and the open world. And this is cool. This last story kind of cemented in for me why people are liking the Hickman books, because I was like, these just little one-off stories, they're not that interesting. And now I can see here that he's got a plan. Like, there's a method, there's a purpose. So some of these covers, that cover was pretty good. This cover's meh. But I like that they do this when they have all the alt covers that you didn't waste your money on, like some collectors. And you can go back and then you can see them in the trade. That's pretty cool. This is a cool kind of picture. Let's see. Alan Davis. Oh, man. Nice shot. I like the angle. Nice big up shot there. I have to say, I really like how Eaglesham draws Johnny Storm, like in his Flame On form. Um, I really like how Human Torch has always been one of those characters. Like, he looks kind of dumb. When they draw the lines on him, I like Eaglesham's version of him. This is a neat shot read with the Infinity Gauntlet. And Alan Davis is a master. He's at his best though when was it Paul Neary was his old inker, I think. Man, there's a lot of Alan Davis covers here. Oh, that's one of the actual covers. I didn't so much enjoy the whole little birthday interlude story, but these are kind of cute covers. Oh, this is a really cool mole. Oh, I like this one. Mole Man. The thing looks awesome. That's a cool cover. This is kind of intriguing too. Man, these should have just been the primary covers. I hate alt covers. Oh, that's cool too. Look at that reflection in Nihilus's face. I'm assuming that's a Nihilus, or it's one of those bug things, but that's cool. Oh, so this is all the Dark Reign covers too, because I forgot my collection has Dark Reign, which I didn't read. So let's see here. I think I read Val wrong. Dragon Matches Val meant that makes 4 cities. So I guess maybe I read that wrong. Sorry about that. Let's see. Oh, Melissa, I trigger you every time I get you around Hickman. You're just like triggered on the X-Men. It's not my goal to bring back negative thoughts. Well, that's a pretty cool Invisible Woman image there. I like that. And that's the back cover of the book. So here's the whole collection, collecting Dark Reign, Fantastic Four 1 through 5, plus. Just shut up, Comics On. I don't. I hate it keeps popping up that thing. Fantastic Four 570 through 578. So yeah, I picked this whole thing up on I think for like $5 during a Comixology sale a while back. So you can definitely get good deals. I've enjoyed this. I'm going to continue reading the Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four. I don't know if you guys are liking it, what your thoughts are. I know some people have already read this. They absolutely love it. I'm not going to continue reading them on air. This is the end of the Hickmans. We're going to find on Thursday, we're going to start up a new book. What it is, we all know. It'll be a surprise. I don't want to continue on forever. I know sometimes people love the book and they just want it to keep going forever. And some people, unfortunately, don't. And I don't want to have to drag them through months and months of pain, because then they'll just go somewhere else. And I like to have everyone hanging out, reading comics, shooting the shit, all that sort of stuff. But it feels like the chat's died down. It feels like you guys have all been lulled to sleep, which is what the point is with my bedtime story. It's late here. I actually have some more work to do, like work, the boring kind. So I'm going to let you go. Hopefully you all have a pleasant night's sleep, sweet dreams. Tomorrow is New Comic Book Day. I hope if you are getting comics, you're getting something good and exciting. I don't even know what's coming out. I don't get to even go to the store tomorrow. So, but I did get to have In-N-Out today. That was fun. I haven't had In-N-Out in a couple months. Had it today, and I was, man, that hit the spot. So hopefully things can go back to normal. Hopefully you're staying safe. There's no riots in your cities. And I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. God bless. Godspeed.